Alright guys, I didn't like how my first recording turned out of my review of Rogue One, so we're going to try it again. I just got back from seeing the premiere of Star Wars Rogue One in IMAX, and first things first, let's just talk about the monkey in the room. IMAX, it's a must-see in IMAX. You're talking about Star Wars. It's spaceships, explosions, things coming flying at you from every direction graphically. You need to see it in IMAX. You can see it in 3D, but it I really don't see why you wouldn't want to see it in IMAX. If you have an IMAX theater, go see it in IMAX. Do yourself the favor. Let's first get into. Let's talk about the actual characters here. This is the story of Jyn Erso, and really delving into the storyline that takes place right before the start of Star Wars: A New Hope. So this is in between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, right at the tail end leading up to it. This is going to be basically the story about that information that is given to Princess Leia in A New Hope, that she is basically trying to get to Obi-Wan Kenobi to get back to the Rebel Alliance. Now, this information is very critical. These are the blueprints, the plans, the story of what needs to be done to destroy the Death Star. We all know that because we've all seen the original trilogy. We've all understood what happens, what's going to happen, and we all know that there was something or someone that took place in the beginning that led to that. So this is the story of those people, that group of people led by Jyn Erso, and how they're able to get this information to Leia on her ship. So that being said, we'll get started here. This movie starts off, and let's first get this out of the way. If you're going into this movie thinking it's going to be just a typical Star Wars movie, just lots of shooting, Jedi, anything like that, you're not going to see that kind of movie. This is a completely different Star Wars movie, and they tell you that right at the beginning. Every Star Wars movie, how does it happen? Black screen, Lucasfilms, Star Wars. Roll credits of gold lettering. Yep. That's not this movie. Not this movie at all. It tells you right at the beginning because that does not happen. This movie starts off with a soundtrack that immediately starts playing. You see this shadow, almost like a ship, and then you find a way a ship flying right through it. Then you just jump to this planet where this Imperial ship is flying over the planet, and you're like, wondering what's going on. You're introduced to the main characters of Mads Mikkelsen's Galen Erso, and his wife, and a young Jyn Erso. You get to see the tragedy and story here. This whole movie is really the tale of tragedy versus triumph. It's neat because it really is a different type of story. While all the other Star Wars movies are about making decisions that are about more than just you, this truly is a story that is not just more than about you, but doing something that's more about you, but at the same time redeems your family. This is the story of, Galen Erso, who is basically hijacked into working for the Imperial Armada. This guy is an extremely intelligent, engineer who works on, weapons and space stations and stuff, and he's basically shanghaied into working for the Empire, and they basically come right out and they're like, you're gonna do this, we need you. So basically, fast forward. Just immediately we fast forward. We get into seeing Jyn Erso and just her getting slowly introduced to basically the cast that will help her make a change for the best for everybody. Whenever I look at this film, I left the theater. I was really satisfied with what I had just seen. This was just a complete film. It was great from top to bottom. With the only legitimate complaints I would make about the movie was that I feel like with an hour and 15 minutes of this movie, they could have very easily just added an extra 20 minutes and told us a little bit more about a couple characters that maybe would have not necessarily been beneficial to the storyline, but would have made a couple like super fans like me at least be like, oh wow, it's really nice to know that's where he came from or that's what it was. Being said about that, it's just three characters that I wish I knew more about. Being Cassian Andor, the captain who originally changes Jin's direction and idea of joining a rebel cause. He seems like more like a mercenary, doing whatever it takes for the Rebel Alliance cause. Uh, then there's the character of Saw Gerrera. He is like the father figure for Jyn Erso whenever her father's kidnapped. He is labeled an extremist. He doesn't fight on the side of the Alliance. The Alliance doesn't agree with everything that he does, but they also know that everything he's doing is trying to benefit, the rebel cause. So I feel like he's done a lot of crazy stuff in his life, and I wish I knew more about him to see why he's in the condition that he's in when we see him 30 years later. And then we have a character who obviously doesn't have too much of a storyline, but I want to know what it was that changed his mind to turn his back on the Empire. And that would be Bodhi, the captain of the ship who originally changes his mind. He is given a message to relay and he gets captured, but he has the original message that starts all of this. So I really want to know what it was that, the person, without spoiling anything, I want to know who it was that, what it was that that person told him to make him just completely change his mind to, doing what he would normally do and not even question it. So I really feel like that would be a really, really cool thing to have seen. Now, sadly, that's not there. Hopefully, they put it in like deleted scenes with some information, or maybe I'll just have to research it via like the stories or whatever. Um, Discussing the villains of this, because this, like I said, this isn't a typical, Star Wars movie when it comes to Jedi Sith type of bad guys. This is more of like the bad guys that run the space stations. So it's like we get to see Orson Krennic. He is this big bad guy whose brainchild is the Death Star. He's got this, killer idea for this planet killing space station, and he basically wants to be. He mentions it several times in the movie. He wants to be in the most favor of the Emperor. He wants to basically be Grand Moff Tarkin's superior, and you can tell that just from how he looks at him. He doesn't respect him in a way that you would expect from a Sith, like higher up military guy. All the other people under Tarkin kneel basically before him. He is the ultimate of the ultimate and the ultimate. And then Tarkin is just straight up in this movie. He's just like, yeah, this will look great. It'll be great whenever I control the space station. He's like, no, I want to control the space station. So it's really crazy to see that the people that were recruited, from the Imperial Armada here, almost have the same traits as what the Sith do as people. Like they all want to be competitive. They're all like highly competitive to be the one in control. Even if they're not actually in control of the entire war, they feel like maybe that would give them favor with the person who is in really controlling all of it. This guy he's bad. He's a bad guy, and I think he did an amazing job. Ben Mendelsohn. I think I butchered that. But the closest thing to the Force that you really see in this, I'm not spoiling one of those things because it kind of makes the end of the movie what it is. So it's pretty cool. But there is a character played by Donnie Yen, and his character is basically sort of like, he's not a Force sensitive, I don't think, but at the same time, I feel like he has the potential to have been. Maybe he is a little bit Force sensitive, but he basically, he is more of along the lines of non-practiced Jedi, because this was after all the Jedi were exterminated, and this is just a guy who never really got found as a young boy, or by the time they found him it was too late. But he's sort of just like, he believes in the Force, but he doesn't necessarily like wield a lightsaber or anything like that. He just wields a staff, and he's just a kind of a badass. He's he is what he is. He's different in the movie. He's not a force sensitive like Jedi style type of person, but he definitely has the ability to use the force in some ways, I think. And it's different seeing a movie that's really about the human side of all this, because you see the Jedi and the versus the Sith, and that's been what the past 7 movies were about. So it was really nice to really get back to the human side of this, because the humans outnumber the Jedi. They have always outnumbered the Jedi, but the storyline has always been about the fight of the Jedi and the Sith. So it's like, what about the fight about the people who actually outnumber all of them? Because in the end, the Jedi are gone, and it's just two evil Jedi and a Jedi Master that's out there hiding somewhere. That's what it comes down to in the original trilogy. So I mean, it's really nice to actually get into the human side of this and see how gravely like crazy it is with no Jedi to help stop the Imperial March. It's really cool. You get to see all the different technologies used by the Sith, or used by the Imperial Alliance, or the Imperial Armadas, I guess you want to call it. It's different. It's a different type of Star Wars film. I would say it's one of the most complete films. I haven't felt this good about a Star Wars movie in a very long time. I I can't say it's better than Empire Strikes Back because I've only seen it the one time. I won't dare say that until I'm 100% certain of it. But I can say this: I think that is 100% in my top 3 right now. So I would definitely recommend this movie, highly recommend this movie. I'm going to probably go see it again here once I'm off on Monday, and I'm probably going to go see it again after that. I saw The Force Awakens 6 times, I think, in theater, so I really hope I don't spend that much money on this one, but this is just a phenomenal movie. It was really, really well done, and I would recommend this to anyone that enjoys a good sci-fi type of thriller, drama, you know, twisted ending, because there's not necessarily a lot of information that you need to know about this like going in. You don't have to be a huge Star Wars fan to understand the storyline here. There's nothing about midi-chlorians and controlling the Force and destiny and all this other stuff. It's just a story of someone trying to redeem their family, and at the same time trying to save the galaxy from a superior and almost unstoppable looking force. So it was a very well done film, and I highly recommend anyone that goes to see it. Everyone and anyone goes to see it. And if you have the opportunity, I would recommend seeing it in IMAX, as the graphics of it and the sound are just incredible and put you right in there with it. So, yep, if you have any questions about the movie, feel free to leave me in the drop box below. Give the video a like. I'm trying to make this a big thing. Hopefully I'll be able to get to go see another movie that people will really enjoy here soon. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Like I said, give it a thumbs up, a like, subscribe, comment. Yep, and I'll talk to everybody whenever I do my spoiler video for it. Thank you.